Okay, the weather took the advantage of the internet connection here. Huge storm, sorry about that. Anyway, what we were talking about a second ago, it was the news around the Europe, Brexit related, Italy related, European parliamentary election related, plenty of that over the course of the London session. So let's try to go through few of them. Italian Deputy Prime Minister Salvini quite busy over the course of the European session. Of course, complaining about the Italian bond yields, about the old EU regulation and blah blah blah. And that's the few things we got here. That's in relation to this European Union Italian budget problem, right? On the other hand, earlier today there was a M3 money supply from the Europe, and it was really good. Beat the expectations, beat the previous number as well. The previous one was 4.6. Market expectations was 4.4, but what we get, it was 4.7, and the private loans year to year also beat the market expectations. So in that case, the money supply was really good. And at some point, market may start to questioning the ECB dovish stance. Of course, not yet. I would say there is still time. But by the way, in regards to ECB, we are going to cover ECB next Thursday. We are going to start 1:15 p.m. so a little bit earlier than usual. Okay, so slowly we are going to get back to the news, but slowly let's switch and go through few charts just to have an idea what the US guys may want to do. All right, let's start. One second. Let's start with dollar index. So we are going to start. We are going to go through the currency charts first. By the way, plenty of news after the long weekend, right? Plenty of news around. 1 second. Just 1 second. Need to find just one more thing for you. All right. I should have it here. Okay, there you go. Dollar index chart. That's the weekly one. Again, what we were discussing, maybe we can start. We are going to have a chance to visit the monthly as well. So here clearly visible that from the monthly perspective, there is a little bit more space for dollar eventually, right? It's all about where we are going to close this monthly chart, because the previous month it was quite good, but then towards the end of the month, the bulls gave up a bit, so the monthly close was below the upper shadows, below the high from March as well as from December and November, right? And looks like story is going to repeat itself in May. Still, we got few days more, but another upper shadow over here. Anyway, from the weekly perspective, similar thing. We just hit the stops. I'm talking about the highs 1, 2, 3, 4 from 5 weeks ago, right? And the close wasn't that great. So in that case, what I'm thinking about is very curious what we are going to see in case of the retest of the highs from 2 weeks ago, right? Because if last week, if that was the stop count and then rejection, right? If that way of thinking is correct, so I think that 97.50, it might be targeted, right? Because what happened last week, rejection, but we hold above the support. What I think that because of the stop count to the upside over here, we might see attempt to go lower to try to hit the low we've seen 2 weeks ago, right? So what we're talking about, if that was the stop count, right? So the probability we do have some kind of the liquidity over here around 97 is even bigger. I'm not saying we are going to make the breakdown and we are going to close below. What I'm saying that it might be very similar price action we've seen a week ago with upper shadow. In that case, we might see the lower shadow as well as attempt to attack the bottom of the bottom to this channel. Anyway, let's switch to the daily, where we are here. There was a move to the upside. We already discussed what we've seen here, and the thing is that last week, as you can see, especially Friday, strong close to the downside, and it's better visible here. Why I think we might see 97 being under pressure, right? Once we are going to test previous the high from the 2 weeks ago, right? So again, that might be some kind of the swing high creation in place over here, right? That's something we are going to discuss during the webinars we are going to have in June. No worries about that. So that's how I see the things here on the dollar. So there is a possibility we are gonna to see a little bit weaker dollar. Now, it might be the case that, you know, I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen that bulls on the dollar index are going to watch how the bears are pushing the price lower. Of course not. Very important thing is that because of end of the month, end of the week flow, if you are a spot trader and you wanna do some settlement in May, you are interested you are interested in London fix and New York fix tomorrow, right? So overall, end of the day tomorrow is very important for you if you are a spot trader and you want to make some settlements in May, right? I've been already explaining this is T+2, right? So that's the thing. So it might be a little bit up and down 15-20 pips today, and more price action, higher volatility tomorrow, then into Friday as well. So let's have a look what we have on this particular majors. So we can start with euro dollar, and we can start with daily. I think we are going to discuss higher time frame tomorrow and towards the end of the weekend, end of the month. Again, what happened? We have to get back towards the last FOMC and last non-farm payrolls, right? That was the range after the FOMC and right after the non-farm payrolls, and the quite good range being created, and I've been trying to explain the range to you, right? In that case, over here, the biggest already. Anyway, the red arrow over here, that was the post FOMC high, right? The red arrow at the bottom, that was the post non-farm payrolls low, right? Then we saw the rally towards post FOMC high, and we were watching this one, and actually we didn't take out the stops above. It was Monday as far as I remember, 13th of May, and strong rejection, right? And then we were discussing then most probably maybe the range is not that wide as it should be, right? So from the intraday perspective, it's gonna be tough to try to trade with them. But anyway, finally we hit that stops under non-farm payrolls low with very strong reversal, right? So now, if we agree that what we've seen post FOMC and a few days back to the upside, as well as after non-farm payrolls to the downside, we are going to call it as a range, right? So probably there is a chance after such a reversal that either we are going straight towards the top of that range, and we have also supply based on the 17 on the price action from the 17th of April, right? That's what we already discussed. Or we are going to make over under down towards, let's say, 1150, 1140 to retest this post non-farm payrolls low again. And this over under I'm going to explain as well during our webinars in June, right? So either we are going to go straight, especially it's hard to predict when it's tough to call right now because we are under the weekly open, but yesterday was the bank holiday. It's hard to judge. But anyway, during the Tokyo session we went through yesterday low, right? So we are under the yesterday low. If I'm not mistaken, we are right at and we are below the weekly open. All right, once we are, and it's around 50% of that range. Once we are going to break through and hold above the weekly open, it might open the way towards higher levels, towards the top of that possible range, right? It's also visible, and we discuss it based on the weekly, and it's getting narrower and narrower, and some kind of the attempt to break either higher or lower should take place, I would say, soon, right? To the downside, we've got this weekly possible demand down towards 110 as well. So what I've been looking for and why I'm still long, that's what you've seen at the very beginning, right? And just let me remind you. I have a buy stop, and I should, looks like I've been already stopped. Okay, anyway, so I've been stopped at break even. Anyway, let's get back to a little bit lower level, lower time frame where we are right now. So we are fighting again. Around previous day low, right? What else? The thing is, my previous long was based on what I've seen here, and I cannot rule it out. I'm gonna to try to take it again, right? That's the latest weakness based on the today's price action, right? And we are testing this Riley, retesting. Now the thing is, what I'm only afraid of is that we might want to do this stuff, especially that the thing over here was tested. So let's wait a little bit longer, right? And yeah, I'm going to watch euro dollar from intraday perspective. Also, I do have a, as you can see, stop buy above the latest weakness from yesterday, right? The supply zone, which used to work earlier today. I missed that short opportunity over here. It's a few pips, and I do have a, as you can see, stop buy to the upside. So anyway, we'll watch the price action right now around the current level, and we'll decide. I might even try to switch to the 5-minute chart. What I'm looking for here is just to be on the same side. I might try to use the spike to the downside as a buying opportunity eventually, right? Or I may wait for this 1176 and check the price action over there. What is going on there, right? So that's how I see the things from the euro dollar perspective. Now pound, very interesting. You know, I've been hit by pound from the intraday and from the intraday and from swing trading perspective. I just have it from my macro view. Anyway, that's for second part of today's meeting, or even closer to our next meeting in relation to the UK data, with all this stuff around the Brexit, right? From the intraday perspective, we've seen this over under around current level 2655, 2650 already twice. What I don't like right now, after another move down towards this zone, right? What I don't like here is that it might end up with some stop count, where the next demand is a little bit lower. So in that case, might be this stop count, right? I do think that to the upside, we didn't quite fulfill the supply, and I'm going to explain why do I think that way. Okay, so that's what I think they missed yesterday, and probably only because of this bank holiday, right? And as I mentioned last time, this as a supply without the lower shadows right now, so been already tested, right? So what I think they missed yesterday, and my way of thinking, at least for now, they didn't quite hit the high from 20th of May, all right? Not saying about the high from the 21st of May. Anyway, we do have swing low creation over here, right? It might be that, as it's not, I'm not sure if I can call it that way, but I'm going to explain during the webinars in June. There is, in my opinion, unfinished business over here. It might be that we are going to revisit the zone based on the low from the 22nd and 23rd, right? So we might try to, that's what I mentioned based on intraday, we might try to hit some stops a little bit lower, trying to retest levels below 2640, and it might be the level we might see the rally of that one, right? The thing is, I've been thinking about the low from the 15th of January 2019. I've been thinking that the low over here, after this move to the upside, once it's gonna be retest, and we should see the rally off. That might be with what we've seen earlier today. It was a little bit of the lower shadow yesterday, and today during the European Open we saw attempt to rally, but bulls failed below the weekly open, right? Very curious what's going to happen during the New York session. The New York session is up and running, but what we are waiting for, because of there are nothing in the calendar at 2:30 p.m. CET, so I think that the some kind of the price action we are going to see closer to a cash open in US, right? And that's what we are going to cover during the second part of our today's meeting. So with pound right now we have another possibility of lower swing high, but again it should be with the retest of weekly open, and Friday high corresponds with yesterday high. So all this as a zone might be treated or might be taken into the consideration, right? So that's how they want to trade the pounds, in my opinion. Now, of course, there is a political game right now going on in the UK, and we'll try to follow the latest news. But right now, it's time for a first break today. So the bar is open, first time. Coffee, tea, non-alcoholic drinks, charts, staying with us. I'll be back around the top of the hour. Enjoy the break.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back. This is the second part of our today's meeting. We are covering live New York Open. We are going towards end of the month, end of the week. So the flow related with that event, that's gonna be the key flow. Just a reminder, not attractive from the options market perspective. Really nothing big today at 10 a.m. New York, plus consumer confidence out of US, and earlier within the next 28 minutes we are going to have US cash open, right? So first thing first, let's have a look what we have. Another lower shadow here on Euro, plenty of them. We'll see. It looks like there is a little bit of the bullish activity around these levels from today's morning, right? There's two lower shadows at around London Open right now again. Similar stuff related to the pound. This over under we discussed during our first part. I wonder what is going on with the yen crosses a little bit of the bounce, mostly because of the rejection around the high on the dollar Chinese yuan, as well as the bounce on indices. So let's start this part with dollar Chinese yuan chart. The thing is, let's switch to the daily first. The thing is, there was a little bit of the sell-off towards the end of the last week, right? But because of the rally base continuation to the upside, Monday open, bank holiday, come on, we know what is going on, no liquidity, easy to manipulate. And today, right after the open, higher, right? A little bit of the consolidation, Europe higher, so Tokyo higher, Europe higher. Let's have a look what we are going to get from the US guys. Some possible demand around here. And it represents as well what we've seen here, the latest, so it corresponds with this level, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace that way. Okay, now I'm not gonna be surprised if that one Riley base Riley, especially the latest Riley, was a little bit shorter. Okay, I'm not gonna be surprised if we are gonna to see a little bit deeper pullback down towards this breakout level over here around 686, 686.60. All right, so that may happen as well, especially if it's gonna be, for example, done that way. right? So a little bit more relief. We will get back to the Chinese yuan in the second, because we do have attempt to break higher, and the key level for the pound right now from intraday perspective is somewhere here, in my opinion. Just a reminder, I had a stop buy at 80, so we'll see. That's what we discussed, a little bit higher levels, some intraday stops towards the European high. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to monitor that one. So it's simple over under here with 26.99 high. A similar story is going on here. Attempt to break higher. Euro dollar. I think, I'm telling you, in my opinion, of course it's not gonna work today, and that we can say that based on the M3 money supply from EU, we can clearly call end of the problems in inside the EU, because we cannot. The thing is that if we are going to get some positives again and again, then it might turn out that probably then we are going to be like two or three figures higher, right? And I don't like this pound action. I don't like this move back. But all these spikes to the upside, to the downside took place at the very beginning of each hour. So closely monitoring the stuff here. So let's get back to dollar Chinese. Let's get back to dollar Chinese yuan. As I mentioned, cannot be ruled, the move a little bit lower cannot be ruled out. There are plenty of information around, and that was probably one of the reasons we've seen a little bit of the sell-off earlier today on indices. Plenty of details in relation to the latest what happened during the trade conversation between US and China, and looks like Chinese guys provide more details. Looks like the main reason it was even bigger demand from the US side, right? And the same that one thing was the bigger demand trade related, as well as constantly US guys were blaming Chinese guys for all this stuff. So demand and blame, yeah, it doesn't look like we are getting closer towards the end of the trading war, right? For now, from the Mr. Trump perspective, still is fine. But once we are gonna to get closer to the U.S. election, and if there are not gonna be agreement, then things may start. Looks very, very interesting on that from that perspective. So trying to summarize the stuff over here with dollar Chinese yuan. I'm not gonna be surprised to see the pullback. That's what we already discussed. If you remember the range from the 8th of January, right? Then the move lower, and then attempt to break higher 9th of May, attempt to break higher 10th of May, and finally 13th of May, strong breakout to the upside, right? And we didn't test these levels. If you remember, I've been expecting earlier pullback and retest. It didn't happen. So I think as long as we are above, probably bulls are safe. After the break, there is plenty of above 682, another demand, possible demand, right? So right now, if you see, we are above 680, 660, but couldn't break during this first attempt, couldn't break 695. So right now, we might try to call it a no man's land here, right? So I think that's one of the reasons we haven't seen let's call it strong breakdown when we are talking about the indices, right? There is an attempt to buy the yen by the traders as a safe haven, but we are going to discuss the indices in a second, and I think once we are gonna to break through 695 and with approaching 7, then the things might be interesting over there. We'll see what's going to happen. So when we are talking about the risk on, risk off, so usually yen is treated as a safe haven, right? I'm not gonna discuss maybe with the charts, but with the things going on between US and China, it might not necessarily be right to call yen as a safe haven. We discussed it last week, this stuff, right? We'll see, because it might be the Asian crisis, and in that case we might see the sell-off of all of Asian currencies, including yen. Then maybe dollar, maybe Swiss franc, or maybe even squeeze on euro, right? Where the carry trade is also popular with euro right now. But anyway, we will see. So if we are discussing risk off, risk on, it's slowly time to go closer towards the indices. But before indices, let's have a look one more time on yen crosses. First, dollar yen. Retested, weekly open being retested. We hit some stops, right? But there is an attempt to rally. I think. And I'm not surprised. I'm not gonna be surprised after the long weekend, right? And especially towards the end of the month, the flow might be a little bit more positive. So what I'm looking for, taking into the consideration the gap over here. Hello, Mer. Hi. How you doing? Hopefully everything is all right. Good afternoon. So, taking into the consideration what happened at the very beginning of the May after this gap down over here, right? So what we've seen was, let me place this one over here. So what we've seen the retest of the next demand, right? We were discussing the price action over here from late January, beginning of February, right? Bounce of that one, but looks, the bounce, with that bounce we were not able to move and close above this supply. All right, we get back here again. So now what I would take into the consideration would be this 21st of May over here, right? So what are we talking about, just to be on the safe side, right? So that was the move to the downside, bounce of the demand, but we didn't manage to close the gap and go higher, right? Another move lower. I think that we can agree that it's taking into consideration shadows, it's like something close to equal bottom. So I'm not gonna be surprised, again, I'm not gonna be surprised to see dollar yen rally or even risk rally towards the end of the month over here with fresh attempt to go lower right at the beginning of June again, right? That might be the case. Of course, we are gonna be a little bit. We are going to have more information right after the US close today, right? We are going to see what was the US traders' approach towards the US session, especially the second part, right? So I'm very curious what we are going to see. And the thing is that almost each G10, so I'm talking about the euro, I'm talking about the pound, I'm talking about the Aussie, almost everywhere we are testing very important levels when we are talking about the yen, right? Here we go. That's the euro dollar. Now, euro JPY. I'm sorry. Euro JPY. That's the euro JPY. Where we are. That's the Niagara Fall from the very beginning of 2019, right? Where we are, where there is a bullish activity seen based on the closing of the 3rd March, opening from 3rd January, I'm sorry, 3rd January, and the end opening level of the 4th of, right? And we do have this bullish activity, but again, it's not that big bounce of that level, right? So similar like with dollar yen, we're not able to manage to close back above. Now next one, it's pound yen. We were discussing very often. We were discussing the range from 26th of December 2018, right? The latest weakness over here. So once we went higher, retest, we hold, and then suddenly we fall as low as the bottom of that range, and one day big bounce and continuation of the sell-off. So right now, probably in that case, right? If we are not gonna see the rally right now, so we might see attempt to go lower towards 136, 135 on the pound yen. The only thing is here I like there is a possibility to finish the business and rally off the low from the 14th of March, right? That's what we're trying to hold right now, right? That's what we're trying to hold right now. I would take into the consideration the whole bullish zone over here then. Without the lower shadow, probably there was no liquidity and huge manipulation. Anyway, that's how the pound yen looks like. We do have Bank of Canada rate decision tomorrow, right? And Canadian Japanese yen, right? What is going on? Same story here. The range from the 26th of December, sell off, and we are trying to hold bottom of that range, right? And each bounce is weaker and weaker and weaker. So very interesting, but you don't want to chase the short side once we can expect some kind of the bullish activity because of the levels, right? I want to see the breakdown, retest, and then we can discuss what next. But here it might be challenge, but with Canadian dollar, we are gonna get some answer probably later today and tomorrow around the Bank of Canada rate decision. So that's how the things looks like on the Japanese yen crosses. Now, let's discuss indices. If you remember before the long weekend, before the break because of the long weekend, we were discussing the low from 14th of May and the low from 13th of May, that it might be some kind of the stop hunt over here just to fulfill the low over here from, we were discussing the combination 28th of March 27th of March and 25th of March. And actually, you know what? That's what happened, right? Now the things are gonna be interesting, or very interesting today, because I like from the bearish activity, I really do like the price action we've seen 23rd of May. The only thing I don't like here is the close, daily close, right? But anyway, we haven't seen big manipulation to the upside, at least for now, but we are approaching end of the month. Anything may happen, but once we are managed to get lower, close below, then the next stop is again 12th of December range, and we already discussed it, right? So bulls are on the edge here, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see pump from the White House administration, from the Trump administration. I wouldn't be surprised to see some pump it up. That's the one thing, especially that it's going to be towards the end of the month. So yeah, I'll go. All of them love this type of the manipulation. So we'll see. I think that the good idea is to watch where we are from the dollar Chinese yuan perspective. Okay. Let's have a look what we have from lower time frame. But just a second, as we trying here on the pound. That's where we reacted today because of yesterday price action, but I don't think so. There was no liquidity yesterday, right? But overall, that was also related to the price action over here, where we move higher here. Might be the thing. So what we might try to do, I would like to have it here, and eventually the only thing I wanna do, it might be to try to move this one here. Yeah, that's gonna be quite okay here. I want to have this over under, so to see the reaction. Euro dollar trying, but euro dollar here we have to take out the weekly open. Here we have to take out 1230, 1240, right? The supply base on what we discussed earlier, plenty of things. But we know what we are looking for, especially after the stop count below the non-farm payroll slow. Okay, so let's get back to Nasdaq and where we are from the lower time frame. So the nearest possible supply is around 7,400, right? So that's the whole 1% higher from here. And to be honest with you, we did see something similar here a week ago, when we were discussing this one-to-one and all been explained, and that's what happened. So maybe we are going to do it that way, right? With Nasdaq. And then the price action around this 7,390, 7,400 probably should give us an answer, right? 4 minutes to go. So what we are going to do here on the Nasdaq, as usual, we are going to switch to lower time frame. We are going to watch first 5 minutes price action on the Nasdaq to get the idea where we are and where we want to go. So what we need here, a few lines, if you remember. All right, so 3 minutes left. Small reminder, we are going to cover Bank of Canada tomorrow. So tomorrow we have a meeting at 8 a.m. CET. So we are going to cover pre-London Open, right? So we are going to prepare ourselves for London session, and then 3:15 we are going to prepare ourselves for the Bank of Canada rate decision. So you are more than welcome to join me tomorrow afternoon as well. Then we do have a meeting on Thursday morning. What is important? Finally, I do know the dates for the June webinars, right? Again, reminder, we are going to use webinar room, so the invitations are gonna be sent by the colleagues from the Light Forex. More details to come. Also, we are going to cover non-farm payrolls 7th of June next week, 2:15. Our first meeting inside the webinar room is going to take place Tuesday, June 11th, 8:45 a.m. CET. We are going to go through the basic details of the possible supply demand zones during the first part. Then we are going to have the lunch break, and then we are going to try to during the New York Open, we are going to try to take the advantage of what we learned during the European session. So that's gonna be some kind of the marathon, right? We are going to start 8:45, around 12 we are going to have a break, then again we are going to cover New York Open, so almost whole day. So 11th of June, 8:45. Then again we are going to have meeting number 2 on 18th of June, again same 8:45, and the third one 25th and 8:45, right? So you are more than welcome to join. All right, 1 minute to go here on Nasdaq. Let's have a look. Okay. So that's cash open. That's the high for now. That's the low for now. Some bearish activity in the mid of the way towards 7,400. I'm talking about 7,350 based on the chart I'm using here. So it might be the first attempt to go higher. Also, previous week I recorded the first video crypto related, where you can check Bitcoin versus USD and Ethereum versus USD. You are more than welcome to watch that one. I'm gonna to make the description as well. It was recorded very lately, but it's based on a little bit higher time frame, so no worries. Few things already happened, but few things still valid. So yeah. And higher and higher and higher. That's what I've told you. I'm not gonna be surprised to see them trying to go higher. Let's have a look what we have on the news side. Housing. Just a reminder at 4, option expiration and consumer confidence from US. So yeah, it might be good excuse, this consumer confidence especially, that might be good excuse to try to manipulate around. All right, so we are approaching this this level I've mentioned a second ago. I'm talking about this pre-market activity over here, where we saw this. We've seen this sell-off, so I bet some stops are above. So let's have the zone here maybe as well, and we just trying to take out the stops. And what I have to do, I have to put on the 1 minute chart only, not to mix it up things. Okay. So, wow, nice, 25, almost 30 points range, nice. Looks like there might be volatility a little bit bigger today. And of course, if you are a crude oil trader, so because of the bank holiday yesterday, everything is postponed by 1 day. I mean, news announcement, right? API, EA. So that's the attempt to break out higher. So the stops from the pre-market activity were taken out right now. We are trying to take out we took out the high from the first 5 minutes. So this attempt to break higher. I wonder if we are going to go straight 30. It might be that if we are going to check the range from the first 5 minutes, and with this attempt 7,400. So there is distance is as twice bigger than what we've seen within the first 5 minutes, but then we have whole day, right? The pound is trying. I'm cutting a bit the one open. It's on a break of 80. As you know, just to show you what we have here. It's everything based on the European price action, right? But the pound was here as well. So I'm going to cut. I have still from the previous week what we discussed. Here is a stop on EuroCAD, but with this risk on approach, it might be bullish attempt to go higher. So some kind of the risk on approach. So looks like the US guys want to say, no, the European and Tokyo guys were wrong pushing this CNH higher, right? We are selling off, as we did Friday. Might be. All right. Let's go through the news services. Ooh, there might be some clash in between Macron and Merkel. Macron says he doesn't want to get into names, but then drops Vestager, Barnier and Timmermans in that order. And Macron didn't mention Weber. So in dollar yen, we know what we are watching, right? Watching the range from 21st of March. Everything above 110. So it might be case of the failure to the downside. Riley back here. I like this sell-off. Again, reminder, flow related to the end of the month may take place here as well. Anyway, time for a second break today. So, bar is open again, coffee, tea, non-alcoholic drinks. I'll be back around the top of the hour. Enjoy the break.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back. Third and the last part, summary of the day. Summary of the first part of the New York session. But first, think first, US consumer confidence. In May, 134.1, estimation 130, previous 129.2, looks like US consumers are simply unstoppable. So, but there is a little bit of the rejection. Nasdaq, in that case, it might be based on, it might be what's around official from the top economic planner in China few minutes ago. If someone wants to suppress China development with products made with rare earth, China exports, Chinese people will be unhappy. Apple, Tesla. Anyway, dollar yen is doing well. So, based on this 1 hour chart, it's all about late Tokyo, pre-London Open, plus all about the yesterday high. Looks like we wanna see higher levels. I'm going to monitor dollar yen because it might be as simply as that. And we are talking about 110, and that we are not gonna be surprised to see Riley back. Let's switch to the lower time frame. Let's have a look where. So looks like we are taking these levels out right now. Okay. Let's swing high over here. Let's have a look even lower. All right, so I'm going to try to buy 109.51, 101.51 with the stop below 36. So something around 15 pips. It should be under the yellow, right? But let's go a little bit lower where the lower shadows are, and I'm gonna to target 109.90. So 15, 51, 90, 91, 40. Yeah, it's gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be something around 3R. So that's what I'm gonna do. I wanna buy here, right, 51. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's dollar yen. We might see at some point turnaround on some other risk crosses like CAD yen or maybe Aussie yen. But here I'm going to wait for London fix and where we are going to be for the second part of the US session. I'm quite okay with dollar yen for now. I mean, I'm waiting, right, for a pullback towards 51. We'll see. And we'll monitor this euro dollar as well. Of course, because of the bank holiday yesterday, as I mentioned, we are going to have all the oil-related data one day later. But what happened? It was the breakdown, right? And we were discussing about this breakdown for quite some time, with the stop count below the latest zone. So right now it looks like that retest, but this time it's gonna be rally into, not pullback into, it's gonna be rally into psychological 6011, might face some kind of the supply. So based on this, a little bit above 60 towards 6080, I do have this yellow intraday possible supply, but I would prefer to see the rally over today, tomorrow, just to be under this supply ahead of the API and ahead of the EEA. All right. So that's what I'm gonna to look for based on this oil story, right? What we have seen here, right? Some kind of the range break. We doubled that range, so that's attempt to rally shouldn't be unexpected. So we do have this magnet around the psychological 50. Now, if we are going to break down through the latest low, I think it might be some kind of the flag creation over here, hit 60. I would like to see attempt to break lower, rally towards 60 and then sell off, right? I'm looking for a stops under the low from the 8th of March, all right? And here where we've seen the latest weakness between 50 to 50 psychological level. That's about the oil. Gold, I haven't watched it for a while, to be honest with you. 5660, that's the 60, and that's another few dollars lower. That's the possible demand. We were trying to react over here, right, around 70. What I don't like from the bull's perspective is this two swing lows over here, all right? and the first breakdown, a weak bounce off the demand, and we are again trying to get back below this trend line. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look good from the bulls perspective, okay, as we just simply couldn't go through this supply over here. Even more, the latest close below the low from the 13th of May, from the mid-month, was very negative from my perspective, rally back towards the zone. If you remember, we were discussing this on the pound. So we have a problem over here. So if you are a bull, I would be very, very, very careful here. As long as we are below, right? Do you remember what happened with the pound? That would suggest, because the latest gold rally was related to the a little bit of the risk of sentiment, that would suggest that we are not gonna get the risk of sentiment, right? Okay. So bulls were not able to hold above this stop hunt level, stop hunt zone. For now, 60 as a sky high, and we are back inside the first 5-minute range. But let's watch for a while. Let's see what's going to happen with this dollar yen. Nasdaq is not giving helping hand here. So the thing is all about the cash open, right? If we are gonna be able to hold that level. So in that case, dollar yen may hold what's been discussed, but I don't like this upper shadow. Okay, we'll see. just a reminder, we are going to cover Bank of Canada tomorrow. So at 8 a.m. CET, regular pre-London Open meeting, but then the afternoon meeting starts 1 hour 15 minutes later because of the Bank of Canada rate decision. So probably we are going to watch the market a little bit longer towards the London fix, and then we will see what is going on with Canadian dollar. Euro dollar under pressure, pound under pressure right now. We'll see. Might not be. Okay, I'm gonna delete the order being cancelled. I'm going to check the London fix. I'm going to check what is going on here. This looks like even big, solid US consumer number. It's not giving the helping hand right now. Oil, gold, and on Nasdaq bulls are fighting at the cash open. So I'm going to watch closer towards the London fix. I just mentioned that in the archive there is a first crypto related video, BTC USD and Ethereum USD. But let's have a look what is going on right now, as we had nice spike to the downside, both very quickly. So you have to watch. Anyway, you have to watch this video if you want to understand what is going on right now. And the retest over here, if you remember, we were discussing next target higher towards 9,300, almost 10,000. So we are very close. 8,940 based on the platform here. We have, so we took out these stops over here. Now the thing is, what I'm only afraid of from the bulls perspective right now is that yesterday move was during the bank holiday, both UK, US. So that might be false break. So what we might see, either this type of the price action, and with the week close today, that's not gonna be super interesting from the bulls perspective. What I think we might see the last spike to the upside to hit the supply, and we are going to see upper shadow, a little bit of pullback, cannot be ruled out, but we do have the next support around 8,200, and then again something down towards 7,500 on the Bitcoin. I'm talking about this price action from 23rd of May. But anyway, here we are approaching end of the month as well. Yeah, huge run to the upside. Based on monthly, well, haven't we been there? all right, we'll see. I would prefer slow price action to the upside instead of another run out of the steam. Let's get back to Nasdaq. It's probably all about the retest. So that would be something like helping hand with sell-off right now here on the hourly on gold, right? I've mentioned doesn't look good from higher time frame, but that might be the latest helping hand here to trying to hold few levels from intraday perspective. This breakout to the upside. And the level we didn't test it before, plus the weakness we've seen over here, right? So that's almost to the point. Smaller time frame. So overall, what I'm talking about is the bulls have to hold first above this falling trend line. If that's the case, they have to get back above the daily open from the 13th of May. I'm not saying today. It would be good to see them there above towards the monthly close. let's get back to the dollar yen, not to confuse you too much. What I would like to see, retest of this cash open on Nasdaq, and if that's hold with, let's say, 5 minutes candle looks like this, and at the same time we are going to test 109.50 on dollar yen. All right, that's gonna be my entry. The stop unchanged under 36. By the way, there is a new information in the chat based on the state media. China state planner official says China will prioritize domestic rare earth demand, but willing to meet other countries' reasonable demand. Okay, so we are getting closer to the end of our meeting. That was again my pleasure. Without fireworks on both euro dollar or pound USD, there is a chance for a move higher if we are gonna to keep positive tone on the indices. There is a chance to move higher on the yen crosses, so that's what I'm gonna watch, especially on dollar yen. That's what we discussed. I'm leaving Canadian dollar versus USD towards Bank of Canada rate decision tomorrow. I'm holding long Euro CAD as you've seen at the very beginning. With tight stop, some pound. I may try to trade breakout on euro dollar. As you know, I have stop buy. It's only valid, the stop buy is gonna be valid towards the London fixing, maybe a few minutes longer than the volatility probably will be lower, so I don't want to be trapped over there. So yeah, that's my idea for the rest of the day. So the dollar yen and Nasdaq right now towards the London fix. That's it from me today. Be careful again, flow related to the end of the month will dominate for the next 3 days. Have a great evening. It was my pleasure. See you again tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye.